back, tributes, to episode 37. Oh my gosh, of Into the Arena. I'm Holly.
And I'm Emily.
And today's episode is all about Effie Trinket.
Yay!
Hence, Emily dressing up as Effie Trinket. I hope that you can insert photos of yourself in People magazine because obviously you're a big Effie fanatic.
I'm a big Effie, celebrity.
Exactly. But before we jump into Effie's episode, make sure that you're following us for Tribute Talk every Monday. We just finished Catching Fire 2 weeks ago, and tomorrow we will be reading through the original Hunger Games screenplay, the Billy Ray screenplay. So we are having a bunch of fun guests. Everyone is killing it with their lines and their roles.
So fun.
Come join us. I love what we're doing. So be there tomorrow at 6 p.m. Pacific on YouTube. And another announcement is the Onset Cinema event is happening in North Carolina. It's coming up like really fast. It's on May 28th. I believe that there are still tickets, at least at the time that we're recording this.
I think so, yeah.
So if you are able to get to North Carolina or you live near there, there's going to be a bunch of cool costumes and props. So go there and go see Emily and our friends because they will be up in District 12. So
yeah, Taylor's going to be there from Tribute Talk. AJ's going to be there at the Hunger Games Collector. So it's going to be fun.
So go if you can. And of course, Emily will be posting a lot of content. She is going to be living it up.
You know it.
So yeah, that's pretty much our announcements so far. I guess we can just dive right into our episode all about Effie.
I felt like this was a good character to talk about just because I think we've pretty much covered everything related to the podcast for Effie. We've read through the Hunger Games. We just finished Catching Fire. She's not really in Mockingjay, and we've done the movie watch-alongs for all the films. So we've re-experienced all of the Effie content again. I love her. She's one of my favorite characters. Not so much in the book, but absolutely for the movies. I thought maybe we could jump in just talking about what are our favorite quotes or lines from the book and movie.
With my relationship with Effie, she's definitely not my favorite character. So I'm just starting this out by saying this is more Emily's thing.
It really is. This is my episode.
This is all for Emily. Don't get me wrong, I enjoy Effie's character, but my all-time favorite book quote, which I like her in the books a lot because I feel like the way that she counters Katniss is just like very funny. She's very humorous, and I don't know if she means to be a lot of the time. So my favorite book line is, "See, like this, I'm smiling at you, even though you're aggravating me." That is hands down one of my favorite lines.
Ollie, you're not going to believe this, but I picked the exact same line.
What? Oh my god.
It's written down here in my notes.
I don't know what it is. I think even though her character is so different from the books and like compared to the movies, I just love how sassy she is to Katniss. Like she puts Katniss in her place, and I just think it's funny. I don't know. I love that line.
In the films, I would say she's like the comic relief, but she's also funny in the books without a different sort of funny. But there's also a lot more humor in the books in general. So I think it's she has a particular humor that stands out, even though there's other funny moments and lines in the books. So yeah, I would agree the way that she like contrasts Katniss and is always like rubbing against her the wrong way is hilarious in the books.
Yeah. Do you have any other? That's the only book line I have.
That was my top one.
Wow, we're on the same page.
I feel like it just is one of those lines that really shows what you were talking about the best. Okay, so let's go to the movie. For me, I picked less of a funny line and more of a line that I thought was creepy and iconic. So I picked "May the odds be ever in your favor." I mean, it's also my favorite shot in the movie, so maybe that's why I'm picking it too. She's saying it so seriously, as opposed to how Katniss and Gale are talking about it, in a joking way. And it feels so dark to me. And then that
Mhm.
shot of Katniss with the flag behind her that I love. I just love that moment. Everything
Yeah.
about that moment.
I feel like you have to bring up that line if you're talking about the movies. It's like the most iconic line. But
Yeah.
yeah, I agree. And then it gets into that transition phase where Pete is crying in the car and yeah, the emotions are high. I picked an emotional line from Catching Fire. It was, "We're a team, aren't we? And I'm so proud of my victors. You both deserve so much better." I really like that line because it shows us the difference between Effie in the books and Effie in the movies because she just has like she grows an attachment towards Katniss and Peeta, and I think that her that's like a turning point for her is realizing that the capital isn't all that it seems because obviously she's been born into that society and that class and she's kind of been like I think a good word to use is brainwashed. So I think that's a moment where she realizes how dark and evil the games actually are.
I mean, let's talk about that. So the difference between movie Effie and book Effie is
Hmm.
huge, I would
Yeah.
say. And I don't think there's not really any moment like that for book Effie before they go back into the games. Does she ever even get to a point where she disagrees with the Capitol, like fully, or thinks the Capitol is bad,
Mm.
really? And I don't think that ever really happens.
Yeah. The last we see of her is before going into the arena. We don't see her in Mockingjay, right?
We see her at the very end.
What happens at the very end? I don't remember where she comes up.
It's like so brief. Hold on, let me look
Okay.
if there's like an actual quote.
Because I haven't read Mockingjay in like a year and a half.
Having a Kindle, like I
It's
have a
amazing.
Kindle copy that has all three books together though. It's a whole trilogy.
Oh,
And
whoa.
so like that is the best resource because I can just type in anything in the
Uh
search and like find anything over the whole trilogy, which is great.
huh.
She's with her at the end, like in Mockingjay Part 2, like we see that in the film with like the
Hmm.
execution and like around all of that. That's it. She's just there to like take her to the meeting when they're sitting around the table and they're all doing the vote.
Uh huh. Do they talk at all?
Nope.
I think that's really interesting that Suzanne Collins wrote like no final interaction between them.
It's so weird. It's like, did she dislike that character? I mean, I guess she just didn't care. Like, how did she not have a plan? Because Suzanne has such a meticulous plan
Hmm.
for so many characters. So why not for Effie?
Yeah. I think it's interesting because obviously names are a big part of the books. Like each name means something, has some sort of significance. And I mean, obviously, like the last name Trinket just means just kind of something that could be
I
like,
relate it to like consumerism,
yeah, or
right?
it doesn't really have a lot of value. And so when I hear the name like Effie Trinket, I'm thinking she's more of just a throwaway or she's there for more for appearance and then doesn't have much value. So like part of me wonders if that name kind of has something to do with the end where there is no like significance between Katniss and Effie's relationship. If Mockingjay ends that way, maybe she's still learning her whole life being under the capital and the capital's control, just realizing that they are bad and coming to terms with that because it would be like your whole life was a lie essentially. It's interesting to me that there is no concrete ending, but again maybe that just has to go with at the end of war you don't know, there's always different ideals and beliefs.
Apart from Effie, there still is no other character that is more in line with the Capitol and goes through an arc like Effie does in the movies. And in the books, there's no other character that happens to. So I wonder if Suzanne, I guess that's just not what she was trying to say. But
Yeah.
from just my perspective, it seems kind of strange that she didn't have any character that she wanted to portray. Like once you really see the atrocities and see what's happening, there's no
Mhm.
character that really has like their eyes opened. from the Capitol side.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if Suzanne just didn't want to say anything about that, or if she didn't really think that that could happen in the time span that is in the books.
I mean, I would agree with like the second part of that argument where Effie obviously was brainwashed and controlled for however many decades she was alive. And so maybe it's like making a comment that you don't always change based on how evil the things around you are.
We see it a little bit with the Capitol population in general and their reaction to the victors
Mm-hmm.
being chosen. And just the movie does a really cool job of then giving that into a singular person, Effie, and seeing her like up close reaction to
Mm-hmm.
all of that.
And I mean, like a big difference in the between the books and the movies is that in the movies she has a much closer relationship to Haymitch, Peeta, and Katniss. And I
Right.
mean, another one of my favorite lines from the movies is when Plutarch goes down to see her and in her compartment in District 13 in Mockingjay Part 1, and she says, "There isn't a soul in this dungeon who knows the first thing about Katniss." And I like that line a lot because even though they don't have like a super, I wouldn't consider them close. I feel like Effie is almost very protective of her in the movies, and especially towards the end, I believe, of Mockingjay Part 1, where she's having this breakdown, and Katniss can't do the propo or whatever. Effie is the one who kind of like helps her walk away from it and is more of like a supportive character to Katniss's emotional needs.
She has such a good arc.
Yeah.
Honestly, I love a good arc, you know? And I
Mm-hmm.
would say probably one of the most developed arcs of like a lot of the characters, because I feel like there are a lot of characters that really don't have much of an arc. They kind of just are who they are
Yeah.
throughout the trilogy. But Effie is just, she's just a step above. I don't know.
Yeah, they did a good job with portraying her character. Maybe that's something that Suzanne might have like regretted, was not concluding that character.
I
I
feel
don't
like
know.
she probably did, by the way that she like saw what Effie could be in Catching Fire and was like, put her in Mockingjay. Like
Yeah.
we need her. Like forget Fulvia. Like get her out of
Yeah.
there.
We
We don't
hate
need her.
Fulvia.
One of the lines that I really like in the movie is Catching Fire, right before the interviews where Katniss is in her wedding dress and she's in that moment with Effie and she says, "Let's go show them what real beauty looks like." And for me, I read that as having a tone of rebellion to
Mhm.
it. And I feel like it's a really poignant line for someone who's like so obsessed with looks and like keeping up appearances. And I feel like that real beauty she's referring to is she kind of sees more of Katniss for who she really is instead of just like this commodity. And like her character, I feel like maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that's kind
Oh,
of how I see that line. Like
yeah.
obviously Katniss is gorgeous and Effie loves the dress and everything too, but I feel like there's like a bit of an undertone
Yeah.
there. Why don't we
Um,
talk about our favorite and least favorite Effie looks?
oh, obviously there's a few favorites for me. I was like writing a list of favorites because how can you not like her looks? And it ended up being like five favorite looks. So
Let's talk about, are there any from the Hunger Games that are your favorite or least favorite?
least favorite, it can be agreed upon, I feel like, is the green hair, blue dress that she wears when they're getting
Okay,
their
that's what I
training
wrote too.
scores. I feel like everyone hates that outfit.
It's a clown outfit.
Yes.
Like, what is that?
But my favorite is her tribute parade outfit with the lavender hair. They did like the Capitol couture look.
Mm-hmm.
I love the lavender and the gold mix. I think she looks absolutely beautiful. And just the face makeup, how like powdery, but like, I don't know, it's just over the top and elegant, and I love it.
That one I feel like seems the most similar to the looks in Catching Fire. Like it
Yeah.
feels higher fashion
Yeah.
to me. My favorite from the first movie, we only get it for a short amount of time, but the fuchsia, well, like magenta outfit with the purple during the
Oh,
interview
uh-huh.
sequence.
Hmm.
I love that outfit. I don't know, I just something about the hair accessories
Hmm.
and like the kind of flowers on the side by the shoulder.
Hmm.
I just love it. I would like to cosplay that.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah, I should
Next
do
Effie
it.
cosplay. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I realized that so I have two least favorites. My other least favorite is I love you to death. Don't get me wrong. But
Is this the reaping outfit?
yeah, I'm not a fan of the reaping outfit. I think like it could have been better in my opinion. Obviously, it's different from the books. It's not that I hate it. It's just like one of my I, lesser favorite outfits of hers. So those were the only two that I was like not my favorites. But I
No,
feel
I
like
can understand that because like my cosplay outfit is from the reaping scene is not accurate. Like I didn't know what cosplay was back then. I found a dress that was the same color. I
mhm,
was like, okay, this works. And so the way that I have it is not really the same as
it's
like
better.
cosplay, you know? I
No,
didn't
it's
know things had
better.
to be accurate.
Yeah. No. So those are like the only two I have like a big problem with. But again, Hunger Games had like a lower budget, so I don't really blame
Yeah,
them.
totally. I love the color of the reaping outfit though. The way that it
Hmm.
stands out so much on the stage. Like I totally love that they went with that.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely the outfits leave something to be desired like in the
Yeah.
first film. What about Catching Fire?
Catching Fire. I feel like everyone obviously loves the butterfly dress. It is probably, I'm gonna speak for everyone, like the best Effie costume ever.
It's also Elizabeth Banks' favorite, so
Yes. It's superior.
it's the right
Um
choice.
I I have two other favorites from Catching Fire, and definitely it's the gold hair where they're going to that's where they're going to the Capitol where she's like, we're a team. I have my gold hair. I love her gold hair. I think it's really cute.
I think she's
Um
wearing that one when they say goodbye too.
yeah, it's her the team. So that one, and then I like her presidential party um dress, especially like the huge pink and oh, I love it.
My least favorite is similar to the party dress. It's kind
Mhm.
of that same ruffly material, but it's the like hot pink version of that. I think it's the one where that chair poster that she's
Oh,
sitting in.
yeah. Uh-huh.
I think it's mostly the accessories for me.
Okay.
She's wearing these weird colored, strange bracelets, and I don't know.
Mhm.
I don't like it.
You're like, no, thank
But I will
you.
say I did get a dress similar to that I'm going to use to cosplay that outfit. So,
Well, there you go. You have to do the chair poster outfit.
I mean, my favorite is the butterfly dress, and then
Mhm.
probably a second favorite would be the first dress we see her in when she comes to the Victor's Village. Breathe it all in, children. You know, the white look. I
Uh-huh.
love that.
Yeah. Um, what about, do you have any for Mockingjay
Do
movies?
we have anything to say about Mockingjay? I
Okay,
mean,
I have
this
some.
is a cute look that I'm
Yes.
sporting.
I was gonna say one of my favorite looks is her District 13 like outfit attire. I love the bandana. My favorite part is when she wears the sunglasses. I think that's just like super extra and I love it. I think it's cute.
Yeah.
But
I'm not a super fan of her last outfit with the like the hair
no.
or the fur. I don't know. Something about that weirds me out.
You know what? We can just dive right into that. The outfit creeps me out, but also the Haymitch Effie kiss creeps
Okay,
me out.
let's go there.
That's a good segue.
Thoughts on Heffy?
I hate it. I think I voiced that my opinion on that before. I don't like it.
They do have chemistry in the film, I
Yeah.
think, but I think they went a little bit too far with actually putting the kiss in there at the
Yeah.
end, especially because we know they're not actually going to be a thing. They're not going
Mhm.
to stay together, and I don't know, it weirds me out. I like just the thought of like, oh, like they could maybe be cute or like they have
Stop.
interesting love hate chemistry, but like don't actually put them together. No.
Enemies to lovers. See, for me, like I remember seeing the kiss when I first saw Mockingjay Part 2, and I was like, what?
Uncomfortable.
It's just like barely a kiss. They just do a little like, mwah. But it's like
Don't they kiss multiple times
it,
too? It's like a
it's like slow.
a
I
little
hate
kiss and then like a bigger kiss. Oh, I don't know.
And so for me, I was like, afterwards, I was like, what is this, first of all? Second of all, I can only think about it in like a friendship way. Like, I don't know. It's not like I
Yeah.
go around kissing my friends goodbye, but I like to think of it as like a final, like, goodbye. And just a kiss for getting through it. I don't know. Because if they started making out on screen, I would have left. I think. I don't know if I could handle that.
I think it would have been a more powerful, like emotional moment if they had really just like,
Hugged or something.
yeah, or just like said goodbye in like a heartfelt way.
Yeah. So for me, again, like I hate watching the end of Mockingjay Part 2. Like obviously it's a good thing because the world is better and canon falls, but I just hate goodbyes. Like they make me so sad. I look at the kiss as like a goodbye friend. Thanks for helping me through this horrible
That makes it more
trauma.
cringe. So weird.
But yeah, I don't ship it. And I don't like seeing any like fan art about them. I don't know. I can't see it. They're too different.
Okay, enough heavy talk because
Yeah.
I mean, if you love them, tell us
That's your
why,
way. Yeah, please explain.
Okay, I feel like one more thing we have to talk about. Going back to book Effie, how in the heck is she alive at the end of Mockingjay?
She knows how to survive.
I feel like this would be a question. Like, if I could ask Suzanne a couple of questions, I would ask how in the world Effie is alive at the end of
Mhm.
Mockingjay, because Katniss is told that Plutarch and Haymitch had to work really hard to keep Effie alive. And that's all the detail that we're given. And why? Why would they work hard to keep Effie alive and not anybody else?
Yeah.
Also, like, there are other victors, I'm sure, that were good friends of Haymitch or like that he knew that we never really even learn about because they weren't picked for the quarter quell.
Mhm.
And how come nobody tried to save them?
Yeah.
We didn't save Portia. Like,
Yeah.
why specifically Effie, when especially in the books, Effie and Katniss don't really have this strong relationship? Do we think that maybe she very reluctantly started giving information somehow from the Capitol? And that's why she's roped into like getting to be saved.
Yeah, I think that's a big mystery for me. In my notes for this question, it was like they kept her alive because she wasn't a main target and Katniss probably wouldn't be too affected by her death. But then again, like you said, at the end of Mockingjay, they worked so hard to keep her alive. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, maybe the Capitol kept her alive because they thought they could somehow use her as bait for Katniss or,
Mhm.
affecting Katniss in some way. And then maybe she wasn't executed because they stopped focusing on her as the war got more intense. I don't know.
Yeah, I
No
mean,
answer.
another thing would be like I could see the Capitol keeping her alive eventually because she's so brainwashed. I keep using the word brainwashed this episode, but she is because she's a Capitol citizen. Once they know that the Capitol is going to fall to the districts, life will never be as easy or the same as it was for her. So maybe it's like a form of torture in and of itself because she has to continue living in a world where it's not what she has known her whole life.
I don't think the Capitol would think that far
I know.
because I mean, who cares at that point?
Yeah. That's just the only like
But
thing I could
yeah.
possibly imagine. Luck and convenience. I don't know.
And I mean, she doesn't even do anything at the end, right? So
Mhm.
then it's kind of like, why? I could see it maybe being a plot hole in Suzanne needed her at the end for some reason. So we're just gonna skip over the fact that somehow she survived, but then she's not even used. So
Yeah.
why not just kill her off with Portia and the Penis Prep team and everybody else.
I wonder if it would have just been better if she had not ever brought her up again. Because then it would be more of like a mystery where you don't know what happens to her. Um, maybe she's alive, maybe she's dead. How is she coping? Does she ever reach out to Katniss? Like, I feel
Right.
like it'd be better to just kind of
It's
leave it
like
open.
someone in Katniss's prep team could have easily taken that role at the end of Mockingjay to lead her from one room to another, you know?
Yeah.
And I feel like that would have been like, oh my gosh, wow, like we've lost so much. I don't know, I feel like somebody taking Effie's place would have been emotional, but you know, it's just a mystery. Suzanne. I want
Yeah.
to know. This is like pretty wild.
Okay.
I'm just going to read this. I found this on Reddit. I've seen the theory about Maud Ivory being Katniss's grandmother. Personally, while I was reading Ballad, I kept thinking that Lucy Gray becomes Effie Trinket. From the very first description of Lucy's dress, all I could think of was Effie. I believe Lucy is the first person to say the odds are not in Snow's favor, at the very least, a nod to the future line. Every time Effie says it, is she actually openly mocking Snow? The night before Katniss and Peeta enter the games, Effie wishes them luck, but has to leave the room because she's too upset. A quote from the Hunger Games: as misguided as Effie can be, she has a very keen instinct about certain things and must at least suspect that we're in trouble. Later in the series, after Snow is found guilty and Effie is released from prison, Katniss notices that Effie has a vacant look. Could it be that she's mentally replaying her own history with Snow?
What? What? I mean,
What is that?
I respect the
The hustle to like make
yeah.
something.
Well,
Yeah.
also just like everything backing that up, like the vacant look, like
These little
I
lines.
love that. I was not expecting it to be a ballad connection, to be quite honest with you. I
I
don't
love
know
that you
what
were
I
like, well, I think Greasy Say is Lucy
mm,
Gray. Well, is Effie Trinket Lucy Gray?
what. Obviously, it's a theory. Obviously, I respect people's opinions, and it's awesome that they did all this research and came up with this theory, but she would not be the same age at all.
I don't
Like, it
think
wouldn't line
I
up.
might be wrong, but I don't think Effie's age is ever mentioned. So she could be like really, really old.
Oh my gosh. She could be. I'm talking, she'd be as old as President Snow.
Imagine a really old Effie Trinket though, always with District 12, like her whole life really
Oh,
struggling to like get up to a better district.
stop. That's really sad. She's like, I'm gonna retire once I get a promotion.
She
And
wants
then,
to get to a better district so she'll have winning victor so she can have another interaction with Snow and like poison him or
oh my
something.
God, stop. You're supporting
I'm
this
making this
theory.
work.
I love that. Okay. I mean, yeah, Lucy Gray does stand out in her rainbow dress, but I mean, in the Capitol, you wear these crazy outfits,
Well, that's why
so
she ran there. She was like, you know where I'm
she
actually
fit
gonna win?
in.
The
She fits
Capitol.
in. Interesting. Okay. I That's interesting. I want to hear what people's thoughts are on that.
I
Huh.
mean, it's ridiculous, but
I love theories and I love Reddit for theories. So that's one that I'm just gonna have to keep in the back of my mind while I
yeah,
watch Ballad.
props to this person for coming up with that.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
that's great. I love that. Like you said, the hustle, the dedication to this theory. I love it.
All the Lucy Gray theories.
It's
She
it's
could
so
be
funny.
anyone. Where is she? Who is she?
We have to connect Ballad
Yeah,
characters
every
to
every episode we have to talk about Ballad.
exactly until we get Ballad. Huh. I'm gonna think about that one the rest of today.
Well, that's Effie.
Effie in a nutshell. I'm excited to read Mockingjay again during tribute talk so then I can actually remember the final interaction with
I
um,
know.
Effie. But I think she's a character that I kind of overlooked a lot. She's not my favorite character, but I think that's probably why I overlooked her and her significance to the story. So, again, amazing job keeping her in Mockingjay. I think we
Yeah,
as an audience love that.
I mean, I had no care for Effie reading the books, even though now I'm like a huge Effie fan. But
Mm-hmm.
it was really, I think, when those first images of Effie at the Reaping and her character came out, and just Elizabeth Banks and how she embodied her, and me being like, okay, like I'll dress up as something fun and cool for the movies, and dressed up as Effie. And then in the movie, like, you really don't see her character in those first trailers like very much, and you don't see her progression in Catching Fire and what she becomes in the trailers. So I feel like it was really just unexpected, and her character and what they did with her just like blew me away, and like blew a lot of other people away. And yeah, she's amazing in the movies.
No, I was just thinking as you said that I have not heard of an instance where people are more excited of a character in a movie than in a book than Effie in the Hunger Games trilogy. And you will always be my Effie in my heart
Oh,
because
thank you.
yes.
Or Dr. Gall. We're doing a shift here.
I just think it's so funny. It's like your villain arc, you know? You were the sweet, lovely Effie during the original movies, and now switching to Ballad, you're going with the absolute scariest character, in my opinion, in all of the books.
I went to a reptile expo a little while back because I want to get a snake. I want to get a
No,
couple pet snakes. It's happening.
no.
It's absolutely happening.
Oh,
And there was a snake that I saw. I wasn't planning on actually buying it that day, but I saw a snake that I fell in love with, and I wanted to get it. And I moved away, and I was looking at some other things, and I came back, and the snake that I fell in love with, somebody bought it. And
good.
I posted about it on Instagram, and Tina replied, Dr. Goal's origin story. And I was like, yes.
I have no words. I hate snakes, and no, no, I will not be going
You'll
with any
like
else.
mine. You'll learn to love them.
No.
I promise. They're like super cute. They're like fun to hold. They're just like little noodles.
No. I think, okay, I'm excited for when we do our Dr. Gall episode because obviously we're going to have to do a Dr. Gall episode at some point.
Yes.
You can bring your pet snake to work that day. You can just have it on camera with you.
For that episode, we're gonna have to do that before the movies, because I am so worried that the movies are going to destroy Dr. Gall. Like, what
Mhm.
if they just took her out? Like, I don't know. I'm so paranoid of
They're not going to.
what's gonna happen.
For me, she has to be a very creepy, sinister character the way that she is. So I think we were lucky with Elizabeth Banks, like so lucky because she killed the role of Effie. And in another strange connected sense, I want somebody who puts as much effort into their Dr. Gall
Yeah,
character as Elizabeth Banks did,
yeah.
because it's going to be interesting to see.
I think that's like what I gravitate towards. Like, characters that I love are just opposite of myself. It's so fun. Like,
Yeah.
characters that are unlike you.
Yeah. But apparently you are Dr. Gall because you want a snake. So,
Yeah.
but yes. Yeah, that was our Effie episode.
Let us know your thoughts on Effie.
Love to hear your thoughts on that final theory, especially. But
Is Effie Lucy Gray?
someone's got to be Lucy Gray at this point. Again, join us tomorrow night for Tribute Talk. It's going to be awesome. I'm having so much fun during this script reading.
Yeah.
So come
Our
join
friend
us.
Kat is killing it as Effie.
Yes,
So.
I was gonna say we have to mention Kat's performance as Effie in the screenplay because she's destroying it. Come join us for that, and until next time, may the odds be ever in your favor.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.